When Kevin Beets asked his father Tony for help a second time, Tony's response left his son in tears. In the heart of the Yukon, where the land is both unforgiving and full of promise, mining is not for the faint of heart. For Kevin Beets, the challenges of this industry became a painful reality when his operation faced one setback after another. Despite pouring his life savings into his new venture, Kevin's dreams of striking gold were derailed by machinery breakdown, sledding, and an unrelenting battle against time. Yet, it wasn't just the elements or mechanical failures that threatened to break Kevin. It was the harsh refusal of his father, Tony Beets, to help him out of his predicament that left him grappling with both emotional and practical challenges. Kevin had already received a significant helping hand from his father. Tony, a seasoned and successful miner, lent Kevin equipment and provided a plot of land at Scribner Creek where he hoped to establish his own mining operation. Despite these privileges, Kevin knew that his success would depend on his ability to overcome the same obstacles that Tony had faced in his own rise to prominence. What Kevin didn't anticipate, however, was how swiftly his operation would be brought to its knees by a series of devastating setbacks. A season of struggles from the outset. Kevin's mining season was riddled with difficulties. The 44-acre claim at Scribner Creek, while rich with potential, proved to be a massive undertaking. Within this plot, the 11-acre Lynx Cut was identified as the most promising area, but its potential was buried beneath layers of frozen ground, which required extensive clearing. Overburden had to be removed, and the ground had to be stripped to access the pay dirt below. But this was a slow and painstaking process. Kevin's ambition was high, with a goal to extract $1,000 per ounce by the end of the season. But from the very beginning, things went wrong. The mining team was bogged down by constant mechanical failures. The equipment was aging, and with the harsh conditions of the Yukon taking their toll, things quickly spiraled out of control. As the weeks wore on, Kevin was faced with the reality that his operation wasn't moving forward. Foreman Brennan Ruled, who was overseeing the work on the Lynx Cut, grew increasingly frustrated. The aging machinery, especially the 30-year-old Caterpillar D10 dozer, was barely holding up. A major breakdown of the D10, which was integral for removing overburden and tearing through frozen ground, threatened to halt Kevin's operation entirely. The situation grew dire when Kevin discovered that the dozer's transmission had completely failed, with bolts broken and oil leaking out. The D10 was no longer functional. This breakdown was catastrophic. Without the dozer, Kevin's operation came to a standstill, and the crew's morale plummeted. Worse still, the cost of repairing the dozer was astronomical, a $60,000 fix that Kevin could not afford. As the clock ticked down and the pressure mounted, Kevin was left with no choice but to turn to his father for help. A harsh reality. Tony's refusal to help. Kevin's decision to approach Tony was not taken lightly. After all, Tony had been in Kevin's shoes before. As one of the most successful and respected miners in the region, Tony had built his empire from the ground up, relying on his own resourcefulness and grit. Kevin knew that his father had the means to assist, but he also knew that Tony's philosophy was rooted in self-reliance. Tony had never been one to offer handouts, and he had always believed that in the mining world, the only way to succeed was to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. Still, Kevin couldn't help but hope that his father would soften, that he might be willing to lend a hand in a moment of crisis. When Kevin explained the situation, describing the D10's complete breakdown and the transmission issue, he was met with a cold, unsympathetic response. Tony's response was blunt. "What you get is what you get. There are no more freebies. We all got to learn to be our own boss." For Kevin, this response was not just a rejection, it was a stark reminder of the harsh realities of life in the Yukon. No amount of family connection or legacy could change the fact that in Tony's eyes, mining was a test of one's ability to endure and survive on their own. While Tony's philosophy may have been what made him successful, for Kevin, it was a tough pill to swallow. His father's refusal was a bitter blow, one that left him emotionally and practically stranded. The emotional toll on Kevin to help was more than just a setback in terms of equipment. It was an emotional gut punch. The father-son dynamic is already fraught with complexities, And when the father who had built an empire in mining refused to help his son, it was a tough lesson in tough love. Kevin's frustration was palpable as he grappled with the reality that he was left to figure it out on his own. Despite the years of training equipment and guidance his father had provided, there was no sympathy, no leeway, just a harsh practical reality that mirrored Tony's own experiences in the industry. No one succeeds without first learning how to fail, and fail hard. As Kevin absorbed Tony's words, the emotional weight of the situation became clear. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Kevin, often stoic and composed, was brought to tears. The years of hard work, the money invested, the pressure of the season's goals, all of it came crashing down on him. In that instant, Kevin's resilience in the face of adversity. Despite his father's refusal, Kevin remained resolute. As disheartening as the setback was, Kevin refused to give up. "We're just going to keep plugging away," he said, a testament to his unwavering determination. His team continued to work, albeit with a makeshift solution, an excavator fitted with a ripper attachment meant for drainage ditches. However, this was far less effective than the dozer, particularly when dealing with the Yukon's frozen permafrost. The toll on the crew was evident as frustration and exhaustion mounted. Yet through all the setbacks and difficulties, Kevin's resolve never wavered. "We're going to have to figure out some way to push through this," he declared. "Whatever we've got to do to keep production running, we'll do." But it's brutal. The challenges Kevin faced highlighted the true nature of the mining industry. It wasn't about family ties or legacy, it was about resourcefulness, determination, and the ability to overcome adversity. While Tony's refusal to help might have seemed harsh, it also served as a reminder that mining in the Yukon is about much more than equipment and resources. It's about the mental fortitude to keep going no matter how dire the situation. A father's lesson, self-reliance. Above all, ultimately, Tony's decision was a reflection of his core belief in self-reliance. It wasn't about punishing Kevin, it was about teaching him a lesson that Tony himself had learned the hard way in the Yukon. There are no guarantees, no handouts, and no easy paths to success. Whether you're the son of a seasoned miner or a newcomer to the trade, everyone must face the same brutal reality. For Kevin, this lesson came at a cost, yet it also fueled his determination to succeed. As the season progresses, it remains to be seen whether he will turn things around. One thing, however, is clear: Kevin's journey is far from over. He may have started this season with the expectation of receiving help from his father, but Tony's refusal has shown him that in the world of mining, success is something that must be earned through perseverance, ingenuity, and the strength to push through when all seems lost. In the end, Tony Beets' tough love may be the very thing that helps Kevin grow into the miner he has the potential to be. After all, in the unforgiving Yukon, the only way to survive is to learn how to be your own boss. In many ways, Tony's refusal mirrors the lessons he himself had to learn when he was starting out in the mining industry. When Tony was young, he did not have the luxury of relying on others for help. Instead, he had to Yukon on his own, solving problems as they arose and facing setbacks without expecting anyone to bail him out. This tough upbringing shaped Tony into the successful businessman and miner he is today. By refusing to help Kevin, Tony was encouraging his son to develop the same kind of resilience. Kevin, like all miners, had to learn to rely on his own resourcefulness. It wasn't enough for him to simply inherit equipment or land from his father. He had to prove that he could manage those resources and overcome the challenges of the land. Whether Kevin succeeded or failed, it was up to him to figure out how to move forward in the world of mining. As in life, the greatest lessons often come from the toughest challenges. Tony Beets' refusal to help Kevin was not a rejection of his son, but a reflection of his deep belief in the importance of self-reliance. By forcing Kevin to face his own challenges and solve his own problems, Tony was teaching him one of the most important lessons in life: that success is earned, not given. As Kevin continues to face the difficulties of mining in the Yukon, he will carry with him the lessons learned from his father's tough love approach. While the road may be hard and the setbacks may continue, Kevin now knows that the only way to succeed in the world of mining and in life is to learn how to be his own boss through this experience. Kevin will grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of navigating the complex world of mining on his own terms. In the end, Tony's refusal was the best gift he could have given his son, the gift of growth, independence, and leadership. In the world of mining, as in life, the greatest lessons often come from the toughest challenges. Tony Beets' refusal to help Kevin was not a rejection of his son, but a reflection of his deep belief in the importance of self-reliance. By forcing Kevin to face his own challenges and solve his own problems, Tony was teaching him one of the most important lessons in life: that success is earned, not given.